Welcome back. Our next guest is from LemonTree. It's an organization working to make sure everyone can afford quality foods. You gotta eat, you gotta eat, you gotta have that meal. We welcome Kasumi Quinlan to the show. Kasumi, how are you?
Good, thank you so much.
Seems like a great organization working with food, helping to feed other people, let them, get what they need out of life through eating.
Definitely. I mean, we're a small team, but I think we're all very committed to the same goals.
Yes. And when did you start this?
So LemonTree began, I believe, in sort of mid-April, maybe mid-2018. So we've been around for a couple years, but during the COVID crisis, we've actually shifted gears quite a bit. And for the past few months, I think beginning in mid-March, we have been recruiting and organizing volunteers across the city and sending them to food pantries that need their help. Food pantries and soup kitchens are organizations that have typically relied on a sort of older base of volunteers, retired people, or corporate groups which just aren't showing up right now.
Yeah, and how has the pandemic altered what you're doing today?
Definitely. So I'm not sure how much you know about LemonTree versus In It Together, which is our sort of volunteer project. But we've actually sort of completely hit pause on what we were doing before the pandemic and completely thrown our resources behind getting volunteers to food pantries in need. We've also are in the beginning stages of starting a sort of hunger hotline where people can call in, speak to a real person, and get help accessing food resources.
Yeah. When you talk about making dinner more dignified, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of the families that we work with before the pandemic and also now through In It Together and volunteering at food pantries, the food pantry experience is not always a very dignified one. The lines are really long. I've heard clients wait 3 hours to get a bag of food, and no family should have to wait that long for a bag of canned goods or something they didn't choose to eat in the first place. And there are a lot of pantries that actually do sort of client choice programs where people do have the option to choose what they want to eat. But nowadays, because of COVID, people are just getting prepackaged bags, and it really cuts down on the ability for some people to be able to cook a dinner that they're really proud of and share with their family. And I think we all know that food is such a powerful way to sort of spread love.
You're talking about the power of technology and systems that scale. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, definitely. So again, something that we're learning throughout this process and trying to work on throughout this process is the emergency food system in New York. Largely grew out of, church basements in the 60s, and it's a really small, loose network. And there's not a lot of technology involved. There's not a lot of efficiency involved because really their main focus is serving people directly. And we, as a sort of smaller startup organization, our focus is really trying to figure out ways we can increase that efficiency.
Yeah. And you're working with other food pantries? Because before that, you were doing something else.
So beforehand, we were actually a meal kit delivery service to families, and we were providing sort of recipes and the ingredients to cook them. And we've actually paused on that and have been partnering with food pantries and soup kitchens across all 5 boroughs and sending volunteers their way.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So how do we get in touch with some of the work that you do? Are you looking for volunteers, and do you need donations?
Yes to both, as always. I'm sure that's true for most nonprofits. We are always looking for volunteers. We have opportunities, like I said, across all 5 boroughs at all days, all different times. We really work with volunteers to make sure we have shifts that are available to them. So you can sign up on our website, which is inittogether.nyc, and you'll indicate your schedule and your location, and we'll send you a couple sort of volunteer projects that may work for you, and you can choose which ones you'd like to attend.
Inittogether.nyc.
You got it.
You use the same thing for people who want to make donations?
Yes, there is a spot to donate on the same website and also at the end of the volunteer registration process.
Okay, I'm going to open up and give you the floor to ask for what you want. You need volunteers, you need donations. Let's
Sure,
get
of
at it.
course. Definitely. I mean, we encourage anybody who is healthy, at a low risk of contracting coronavirus and complications due to coronavirus. We encourage those people to sign up and see the ways that they can support their community. Again, there are all sorts of different ways that you can be helping out. So definitely we encourage people to sign up at inittogether.nyc. If you can't volunteer, there are still ways you can help. You can donate. It costs us just a couple dollars to recruit another volunteer actually. And so a $5 donation means that we can recruit 1 or even 2 or even 3 volunteers and, you know, keep food pantries doors open. Without this volunteer labor, they're not able to keep their operations running, so it's really crucial.
And these are the programs that you're working together. The In It Together program is associated with that?
So In It Together is sort of a sub-project of LemonTree. So our sort of official registered nonprofit name is LemonTree, but In It Together is pretty much one and the same.
Yeah. Great. All right. You're doing some great things. Thank you. Helping others to be fed. I mean, you know, that's special, especially around these times where people are hungry and out of work. You know, the numbers are out over 50 million people unemployed. So, you know, we're really, really going to need you.
And,
You're
you know,
ready
before
for
the
it?
crisis, I hope so. We've been working on it. As I mentioned, we're a small team, but there's a lot of people in the city that are dedicated to supporting the system. And something that we've seen throughout this crisis is that New Yorkers are really willing to step up and help each other out.
That's great. And you get enough people like you teaming up together to help our community to get rid of hunger in our city. We thank you. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you for the work that you're doing. A website that we can go to one more time?
Yeah, it's inittogether.nyc.
There you go. All right. We appreciate you. Kasumi, Quinlan, LemonTree. They feed people. Thank you so much once again. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more Open next.